All right. Thank you all for joining us today. My name is James Shanks with Erchonia. I have with us today Dr. Mark Burdorf, Chiropractic Neurologist at Scottsdale, Arizona. The gentleman sitting next to you, a lot of you might recognize him. It is Henry Cejudo. If you don't recognize him, he is a recent retainment of championship and Bantamweight championship for UFC 249. So I want to thank both of you gentlemen for joining us today. So congratulations, Henry, on your recent win. Dr. Burdorf, thank you for joining us today. So I just wanted to get you guys together. Just kind of tell me some of your experience. And Dr. Burdorf, I just want to talk with you personally. What kind of made you get started in chiropractic and also using laser therapy for your patients?
Okay. Well, I actually I grew up in a rural dairy farm in Minnesota, and my dad had a bad back, and he went to a chiropractor, and then I had asthma as a kid. Went to a chiropractor, and it helped me, and that kind of directed me into the field. I played high school, college football, wrecked my knee my sophomore year, so I was white, slow. I was never going to play in the NFL, so that's why I became a chiropractor, and then graduated in '87, April 16th, and this guy next to me was basically about 2 months old at that time. And I was a general chiropractor for about 4 or 5 years, and then I met somebody that really changed my life. His name was Dr. Ted Carrick, and he's the godfather of chiropractic neurology in our field. And so I went on and became a chiropractic neurologist, have that since '95. And it's always changing. I'm always doing probably close to 3,000 hours post-grad now, and my focus now is migraine, vertigo, movement disorders, and a lot of times that's related to trauma. And so that's kind of my story. I was an athlete myself. I got hurt a lot on the benefits of chiropractic. And then in 2002, 2003, I fractured, I had a bone spur I didn't know about on my left elbow, and I hairlined that off. And it was difficult just to work, so I ended up doing it. I was at a Dan Murphy seminar, and Erchonia was there, and I rented a laser for a month, and 95% gone. In fact, that bone spur kind of reabsorbed back on. And I just had success with laser over the years, and then Henry won the Olympics for 2008, and his trainer turned me on to Brian Davis, and here we are. We've been together since 2008, so it's a 12-year relationship.
Fantastic. That's great. Obviously, as an athlete when you were younger, I'm sure that's in being exposed to chiropractic kind of drew you in that direction, and obviously, I'm sure that influenced you working with athletes as well. Is that kind of what drove you in that direction?
Yeah.
And Henry, on your side, so we know about Dr. Burdorf. What kind of got you started as a professional fighter, and kind of how did that all come about for you, getting to that, I guess, to that peak of where you're at now?
Yeah, well, I think everything starts off as a dream, right? First, I guess, even before you say fighter, I think the Olympics, go back as far as watching the Olympics and being inspired as a little kid, as a little 9-year-old kid. And I think the inspiration, started there of how far I could take, any sport or anything that I decided to take up on. And I think sometimes you owe it to nature, and obviously through the nurture side, the genes that was given to me, and the nurture and where I was raised and how I was raised. I think that had a lot to do with, I guess, with my success. And I've been able to be here as a 2-division champion, as an Olympic champion, because of the people that I surround myself with. And I'm just happy that I found Dr. Mark to have not only a chiropractor, but a neurologist who understands pretty much the whole neural system in your body. And I've been able to push that to the top and to be able to have him, in my life and in my journey. It's been an edge, I feel like, over any of my opponents.
Yeah, and that's fantastic, being able to find someone that can know the system and the body like Dr. Burdorf can to help get you to that peak. And as you in an environment, in a sport that's so physical, what gave you that competitive edge just to get to the peak where you're at now as the best in the world?
Yeah, I think you owe it a lot to recovery, to how you help fix your body. I mean, what I do is I do some crazy things, but I always make sure to recover myself.
Hmm.
And that's where the lines of all these high technology lasers, a lot of the cognitive stuff that we do here with Dr. Burdorf has really has given me that slight edge of, they say there's an inch between the silver and gold, and I've been able to find that and understand that fine line of all these gadgets. And I'm a spoiled little brat who at one point was a ghetto kid that wish you just had things. Now when you have everything, you're installed and you're lucky. But it's through the process of the people that are around me. I'm blessed to have somebody like Dr. Bernard.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head with that. It is who you have around you to help get you to that point. And I know those who were once athletes and tried to aspire to be as great as we could at one sport. I'm sure Dr. Burdorf could speak to that, never obtaining to what you have, and we all wish that we could get to that point. I think you said something that hits me is just the recovery part of it. Speaking to other athletes, you don't hear it much of that. It's the training that they do, but I think you hear a very valuable point. It's how you recover. So Dr. Burdorf, just what's some of the things that you've done with your athletes, with Henry there, to help with that recovery process?
Well, we've been together for several years here, and especially social media, the last several. And what I've always kind of done is like, we'll come in, it's like, hey, we'll do a little thing we're doing in the office today. And I usually stop that, I said that 6-7 weeks before his fight, because if anybody else has a chiropractic neurologist, pick up on what his weaknesses are. And just this last fight, about a month, it was about 3-4 weeks before, no chance, caught him, had a couple cut in his eye there, had a couple stitches, so came in, lasered that, got rid of it like that. And then about 2 weeks before, he took a shot to his shin, left shin, so it's a weakness again. And so, came in and did, daily laser for that. But probably the biggest thing was before his, he beat Johnson for the 125 title, and then he fought Dillashaw the following January and beat that guy, and they're supposed to have a rematch. Then they did with Moraes in June of 19, and he traveled to Chicago. And he comes and gets treated during the week here, but I usually always work on him before a fight. And so I'm flying in on Saturday or Friday or Saturday morning, and Tuesday night before, he slipped at the hotel and severely sprained his ankle. And I posted pictures of that, but I mean, this is almost like he probably wouldn't be able to fight. So one of his handlers, Kevin from Neuroforce One, came and picked up my PL5, and he was out there using it on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday back in town, and that was a big thing too. It's like it enhanced the healing and a lot of the fight. So I really was like, I had nightmares every night because I just keep seeing it's like I could see him left ankle buckling, boom, he goes down, gets knocked out, and well, I mean, Heather Linden did a great job of taking their ankles too, but it allowed him to fight. And I really think that was like the biggest thing I can think back in our time together. And then afterwards, and that was quite the battle. You had a concussion, and then I used different things in my practice. And as far as he calls me up Sunday morning about 8 a.m. and he goes, "Can you work on me?" And I said, "Okay." I worked on him all day, and I had to leave about 6 o'clock that night. And he came back on Wednesday, calls me and goes, "Hey, Mark, did I see you on Sunday?" So I put him in a concussion protocol, for that 2 times a day for that week. My beast here to the left, this FX635, is worth its weight in gold because it's great for reducing inflammation, whether it's whiplash, whether it's brain. So I'd probably say that was the biggest thing in our time together that I feel proud of that I was a part of. So.
Yeah, and I think on my side too, obviously as the experiment, I guess you could say, it's I could feel it even when I did sprain my ankle, UFC 238, fight week. I sprained it on Tuesday, and I was supposed to fight on Saturday. And I felt like the savior what made that difference was the lasers. I couldn't walk. I mean, I couldn't do much on that leg, and I was thinking about pulling out, but luckily I kind of had faith in a lot of stuff that we did here with Dr. Burdorf, and I was able to get that machine all the way up to Chicago and use it, and I was on that thing at least several times a day. I think that was just the difference, and I was able to win my second world title. So when we talk about recovery, man, a lot of it is the technology, the technology that Dr. Burdorf has here in his office that's made a big difference in my career.
Yeah, fantastic. And that's the thing. Technology, as we know, it just keeps evolving, and there's just more and more things in medicine that continues to help us with everyday life. You as an athlete, as just everyday things that we might occur as injuries or illnesses, where technology is helping us advance forward and looking at medicine in a completely different way. Now, as a fighter, now, what would I would say is, what was the toughest thing you had to endure as a fighter, kind of going through the grind, I guess, every day to be and participate at that level?
Yeah, I think, oh man, that's a great question. I think because I've been competing for so long, I think a lot of it is just because I've always been confident in Dr. Mark. I've always been, obviously when you're in somebody's care that you believe in, that simplifies life a little bit more. But I think it comes down to just more of setting goals and continue to keep remaining driven, because you can be firing at all cylinders, but if your mind ain't right and your desire and your passion is not in the right place, then man, this isn't the sport to do it. So I think it was just more of the question whether you want to continue to keep doing these crazy things that give you concussions. But it's been well worth the ride. Like I'm happy. I'm satisfied. I'm full. I don't think there's any athlete that could ever leave the sport the way I've left, the print that I've left. And I'm just happy to have the people around me that have problems. I definitely couldn't do it without any of them.
That's fantastic. It makes it all worth it in the end. So now that you're in retirement, are you going to go on to train, do something else with other fighters? What advice would you give other fighters out there looking to aspire to what you have done?
Well, now since I'm going to be introduced to the game called life, and I think that's why I got to pick Dr. Burdorf's brain and the people that have lived it longer, because ultimately I have so many flaws. Like it's ridiculous. And I was just talking to my girl. Like I don't even open her door until somebody actually told me, "Hey, do you let your girl open?" I'm like, "So you do that all the time?"
I do.
But little things that matter. So I think as a person, I think I'm gonna grow. I think there's a lot of immaturity in me, and I look forward to just to mature, man, as a human being, and acknowledge and get to know people more and better, because I missed out a lot in life. As much as things have been given, as much as people have given me things, I've also missed out on quite a bit too. And I'm looking forward to that next chapter of my life.
That's great. That's awesome to hear, because you can learn so much from people that are older than you through their experiences. They can teach you so much, and lots of times it just takes for us to listen. So that's fantastic to hear. So Dr. Burdorf, my next question to you is, with things going on currently right now with the COVID-19, how have you been coping there just in general as a chiropractor in the state of Arizona? How have things been for you?
I've actually been pretty busy. I've had reduced hours and decreased patient loads, but I really have a neural rehab practice now. So the general chiropractic I really do less and less of, and I've been seeing a lot of people with vestibular problems, and they need me. And the big thing I've learned, obviously treating Henry, but I unfortunately fractured my hip back in March of 18, and I had to have a joint replacement in August. And once again, this machine was a gift to me, because I marketed for rehab of injuries, fractures. I have surgical fractures, so I had a friend of mine bring this to my house, and I was treating myself 2, 3, 4 times a day, and I was back to work in 3 weeks. So because of that, I now market to patients for, I see so many people that come in for a daily laser for a week or two, just like Pepper's concussion, I was doing 2 times a day. And so it makes anything heal in a third or a fourth of the time. So we're still seeing patients, we Clorox the heck out of everything between visits, and we emphasize nutrition in it too. And well, they just they're reopening gyms this week. My gym is reopen on June 1st, but you just you're always going to have challenges. You just got to figure out ways to deal with it.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's very encouraging to hear that you've been able to succeed in this time when so many haven't, with all the restrictions that have been put on doctors and chiropractors and other businesses throughout the country and the rest of the world. It's fantastic you've been able to make it work and even thrive and give those abilities to your patients. So that's awesome. So it was, leading into that, I have a question for you, Henry. So Henry, how was it? How was the experience fighting in the octagon with no fans? What was that experience like? Me as a big sports fan and needing any sort of sports and going back and forth with, you hear all of these major sports organizations talk about it. How was your experience with no fans there? Did it change your approach, change anything about it?
It was actually very, very cool, man. It was a very cool experience, and this is why I'm going to tell you it was a very cool experience. Okay, there was no fans, okay. But when you're fighting with no crowd and you can hear his corner and you can hear my corner, so it almost becomes a battle of it's literally a team. It's team versus team. So, and a lot of people, and at least on our side, we had code words. So these guys had no idea what they're talking about. This dude was talking about left kick, and I knew exactly what was going to happen, so I could hear it. I could hear their cornermen clearly, and I think it felt more of a battle in some sort of way, even though there was no crowd there. For that same reason, is the fact that you could hear the playbook on both sides. At times, you could hear the commentators. So I thought that was extremely interesting, and I guess it was more focused, right, rather than having drunk people ringing, throwing things at you. Fucking see it. It was special too in that sort of way.
I just thought of this now. Who got the hat? Because for the last several fights, somebody's always got a hat on, going like this, and boom, who got the hat?
You know what? They ended up picking it up and they gave it back to me.
Well, that's awesome. That's great to hear that experience and hear those things. That gave a lot of us, I know, for the joy that we're looking for some competition like UFC, but like sports in general. For those that have been missing it and in the lockdown, that was fantastic. So we appreciate you guys being able to put that on and thanking you guys for all that. But yeah, before we go, again, I want to thank both of you guys for joining us today. I really appreciate it. Again, Henry, congratulations, Dr. Burdorf. All the stuff that you do is fantastic. Obviously, Henry is a great testament of what an influencer you've been in his life, not just in his fighting career, but personally, you can see the respect he has for you and everything that you've done for him. And I think that speaks volumes to what you are as a doctor and the bond that the two of you have. So that's fantastic to see. So again, thank you guys for taking the time. Henry, love the belt. That looks great there. Congratulations in your ventures and anything else in life. And again, thank you guys. I appreciate everything.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much for having us.
All right. Take care, guys. Enjoy.
Thank you.